to live your legacy, where every story holds a turning point, and every turning point holds the power of legacy.
Welcome to Live Your Legacy, a Miss You Graham production, where we explore how life's defining moments shape the legacy we leave behind. I'm your host, Patricia D. Freudenberg, also known as Patty from New York, and this show is rooted in one simple truth. Grief is not always about death. Sometimes it comes through life's changes, losses, detours, and new beginnings. And here we speak with entrepreneurs, authors, leaders, and creators who have turned life-defining moments into meaningful work and lasting contributions. Today's show is a solo episode titled Up, Up, and Away. And this reflective conversation will explore the delicate balance between dreaming boldly and remaining grounded. Grief, fear, responsibility, and disappointment can sometimes keep us stuck on the runway, while unchecked ambitions can carry so far into possibility that we lose sight of the practical steps needed to move forward. So I will invite you to come on in, take your shoes off. Through personal reflection and thought-provoking questions, I will invite you to consider your emotional altitude, right? Are you feeling grounded, or are you feeling afraid to take off? When I say that, we're going to get into the article, so you'll totally understand, because sometimes flying without direction or learning to balance vision with purpose can be a little challenging, right? Are you all the way out there, or are you all the way here, or are you somewhere in the middle? And that's, I think, the sweet spot is somewhere in the middle. Again, my name is Patricia D. Freudenberg, also known as Patty from New York. This is a Miss You Graham production, and I am a grief consultant, also founder of Miss You Graham, which is a global solution to cope with grief, mourning at the speed of life. Go check out Miss You Graham. That's MISS-U-GRAM. And we offer memorial services. We also offer grievance gifts, also inspirational items, referral items. And with me in my consulting, I'm here for you, the griever. And my area of focus is legacy, living a life to be remembered, honoring what was by embracing what is to be. And the newsletters I provide complimentary to you if you subscribe to the newsletter on missugram.com. That's what we will be getting into. Stumble on my words. You see that? You got that? You caught that one? Anyway, I welcome you to take a seat. I also like to share a little sneak view of the website, what the website looks like. So here it is. This is the landing page. And as we go onto the landing page, if you scroll down, you'll see the latest newsletter. And this is the image of the latest newsletter, Up and Away. Legacy Café is the title of the newsletter itself. And then subtitle, Up, Up, and Away. And this is a fun topic. And when I write these newsletters, I carry it through the week, right? So if you join my community on School, the Legacy in Action community on the School platform, that's SKOOL. It's a great platform. It's a great community. You could join, complimentary to join and engage with other community members. There's also other tiers that if you want to take it to the next level and take some courses, there's some VIP advantages. I invite you to check it out. So as you go on to this article and you click it, you click that link, and it's going to pop up and populate the article that I will be sharing today with you guys. And then we go back to here, and then we scroll up, and it starts off with finding the balance between vision and grounding. And if you follow Miss You Graham or me on any of the platforms, I also have a community group. It's a live audio app called Clubhouse, and I have segments on there, and I have a grievance chat community. I also have the Legacy in Action on Saturday mornings. It's great. That starts at 7:30 a.m. Eastern time. I'm coming in from New York, so everything is Eastern time. I also have a segment on Thursday mornings on the Breakfast with Champions, which is another great platform. And on Clubhouse, they're called houses, right? Or clubs, if you will. So that's Breakfast with Champions. And they run multiple segments with all types of experts speaking on different areas of focus. And I come in and my segments are legacy in action. Sometimes we have a special guest, which is really exciting. I did do some promotional work for an upcoming guest for a book, Live the Page, and that was written by Tommy Jackson, a personal development book. It's a great workbook. It's a day by day. It's not to read it from cover to cover. That's not the kind of book it is. It's a great book. It's a great size, but I'll do more of that. But I want to get back to the episode here. And today's episode is Up, Up, and Away. And here is the visuals. And here's the article. If you go to the website, missugraham.com, and you'll see it on the landing page, and you just click on the image. And of course, I always offer the guidebook that I wrote, Live Your Legacy, A New Spin on Morning. And again, this book also, it's chapter by chapter, right? And they're really small doses. It's not going to take you hours or days to read, but the work might take you that amount of time because it's an inward journey, right? It's a way to change the lens. So that's what I offer you here today. And let's see who's saying hello. We got some viewers saying hello. Hello, my friends. Hello, my friends. Hi. Hello. And thank you again for coming in. And let's see your question. My mentor once asked me, what do you want people to say at your eulogy? It strikes me quite a bit. Yeah, it's funny you say that because, and I'm going to tell you, I've asked this question too, and impact seems to be a predominant answer for a lot of people who just so happen to be very much verbal about living in their purpose. So I feel like I could say that confidently, right? Speaking for others, right? Which I'm very careful to do. But there have been plenty of people that I have interviewed that are quite reassuring that they're living their legacy, that they're living in their purpose. And I've asked them this question, in other words, and they say impact. And that to me is really special. And I think like when you live your purpose, you will live impact. And sometimes people shy away and they think that has to be so grandiose and big, and it doesn't. It could be the little things. It could be just the little things, but you left an impact. Maybe you made a really nice table setting and now you're passing that on to generations. I'm not saying that's the only reason why you should live is to make a good table setting, but the point is that's just an example of a little thing that could leave an impact. Maybe it's a recipe. It doesn't always have to be, oh my God, I built this big business and now that's the impact I'm leaving. It's not always big. Sometimes it is, and that's beautiful. And sometimes it's the small things. And sometimes it's those details that are just so beautiful that sometimes they mean even more than the big stuff. So thanks for sharing with us. And thanks for engaging in the show today. I really appreciate that. This is the book I'm showing right now. But let me go back to the visuals. I love visuals. I'm a visual person, so I'll give you this visual right here. And this is Up and Away. So what does that mean to you? Share it in the comments. Come to the community. Tell me about it. But nonetheless, I'm going to go ahead and read now this article because I really like it. And I think it's going to be very beneficial. So let me grab it here so I can see it a little bit better. And this is the Legacy Café newsletter, Up, Up, and Away, finding the balance between vision and grounding. And it is a grief recovery series and written by me, Patty from New York. If you haven't noticed, I like to speak in third person often. I think it's fun. Be playful. Don't take life so seriously. There's so much seriousness that sometimes that could bog you down way too much. Actually, ground you too much. Can you be too grounded? Can you? Listen, this is subjective at the end of the day, right? These articles, perhaps sometimes I use objective, but sometimes it's subjective. But I gather my notions from research and testimony and learning from my education. Again, I am not a medical doctor by choice. Thank God we have great education here in the United States of America, where I am presently living. and born. However, by choice, I'm not a licensed therapist. Again, I am a consultant, and I have a great luxury, I feel like, to do what I love. I love consulting and just expressing things that I've learned, paying it forward, sharing the wealth of knowledge, being able to see it from a different lens, again, through testimony and research. So I'm just passing that forward. I meet you where you are, okay? I don't diagnose. I do not diagnose. I offer tools. And you may not need all the tools in the toolbox, but maybe something you hear here, okay, tongue twister, may benefit somebody else. Maybe not today, maybe someday. But let's get back to the article. Up, up, and away. And the phrase carries an immediate feeling of movement, freedom, and possibility. It reminds us of balloons, as you see in the image, floating into the sky, airplanes rising above the clouds, and the childhood wonder of believing that almost anything might be possible, right? Who hasn't experienced that? If you haven't, I wish you can. Looking upward has always represented hope. It invites us to imagine beyond what we can currently see. It encourages us to dream, explore new possibilities, and believe that our present circumstances do not have to become the permanent destination. There is something powerful about allowing the mind to rise above fear, disappointment, and grief and limitations. Imagination can give us the emotional lift we need to move forward. But what happens when we become so focused on rising that we lose touch with the ground beneath us? And what happens when we become so grounded by responsibility, fear, routine, disappointment that we stop rising altogether? Legacy is not created by living only in the clouds, and neither is it created by planting ourselves so firmly in the place that we never move. Legacy lives somewhere between the vision and the grounding. It is born when we allow ourselves to dream while remaining connected to our values, responsibilities, and purpose. The power of looking up. Life has a way of pulling our attention downward. We become focused on what has gone wrong, what still needs to be done, what we have lost, what we fear may happen next. Grief, disappointment, stress, uncertainty can slowly narrow our view until all we can see is the ground directly in front of us. And sometimes being up and away is exactly what we need. It may mean allowing ourselves to imagine a new life after loss. It may mean revisiting a dream we quietly place on the shelf. It may mean permitting ourselves to experience joy without feeling guilty, to laugh without apologizing, or to believe that something meaningful can still grow from what we have endured. Looking up does not mean pretending that pain doesn't exist. It means refusing to let the pain become the only thing we see. Our imagination can become a doorway. It allows us to picture possibilities before we know exactly how to reach them. It gives us room to explore, create, and wonder. And sometimes the first step towards a new chapter is simply believing that another chapter is possible. The importance of being grounded is equally as important. Grounding connects us to the present moment. It reminds us of who we are, what we value, and what requires our attention today. It gives us stability to our dreams and structure to our vision. Consider a hot air balloon. The balloon rises because of what fills it, but it travels safely because someone is guiding its direction. Without lift, it will never leave the ground. Without guidance, it drifts wherever the wind takes it. Our lives can operate in much the same way. Our imagination gives us lift. Our values keeps us grounded. Our purpose provides direction. And being grounded does not mean being trapped. It does not mean refusing to change or avoiding every risk. True grounding creates a stable foundation from which movement becomes possible. It gives us emotional awareness to recognize when we are acting from purpose and when we are simply reacting to fear, pressure, or impulse. However, there is a difference between being grounded and being stuck. Sometimes we can call it practicality when it's actually fear. We can call it caution when it's really avoidance. We tell ourselves that we are waiting for the right moment when deep down we may be afraid to move at all. Grounding should support growth, not prevent it. Finding the sweet spot. The sweet spot is found when our dreams and our actions begin working together. Vision without action can become fantasy. Action without vision can become routine. I think that's worthy of repeating. Vision without action can become fantasy. Action without vision can become routine. And when the two are aligned, movement becomes meaningful. The question is not whether we should dream, whether we should remain grounded. The question is, how can we do both? We can look upward while still paying attention to where we're standing. We can pursue new possibilities while honoring the responsibilities already in our hand. We can imagine something greater while taking one practical step at a time. This is especially important during grief recovery. Grief can make the future, feel uncertain or even unimaginable. It may seem safer to remain exactly where we are because moving forward can feel as though we are moving away from the person or life we loved. But moving forward does not mean leaving love behind. The people we have lost can continue to influence how we live, what we build, and how we treat others. The memory can become part of the lift that carries us into the next season. We do not have to choose between remembering the past and creating a future. Both can exist within the same heart. Healing asks us to remain grounded in love while slowly becoming willing to rise again. What is your emotional altitude? Imagine that your emotions had an altitude meter. When you say, are you still sitting on the runway while waiting for permission to begin? Or are you taking off and discovering new possibilities? Are you flying so high that all that flying so high that you have lost sight of what requires your attention? Or are you hovering somewhere in the middle, trying to determine your next direction? There's no shame in where you are today. Awareness is not judgment, it's simply information. Some seasons require us to come back down, rest, and regain our footing. Other seasons invite us to rise, stretch, and see our lives from a new perspective. And wisdom is knowing what the present moment is asking us. We may need to ask ourselves what grounds us when life feels overwhelming, who reminds us of who we truly are, what habits restore emotional balance, what dreams have we quietly placed aside, what would we pursue if fear were no longer making the decision? And the answers may reveal whether you need more light lift or more grounding, or a healthier combination of both. Rising in a way that lifts others. Legacy is not measured only by how high we climb, it is also measured by what we leave behind and who we inspire along the way. And some people enter a room and make others feel heavier, and their words limit, discourage, criticize, or dismiss. And others create an emotional climate where people feel free to imagine, contribute, and grow. We each carry an atmosphere with us. Our words can become anchors that provide security, ladders that create opportunities, or balloons that remind someone to look upward again. A different At different moments, people may need all three. And there will be times when someone needs us to help them remain steady. And there will be times when they need encouragement to take the next step. There will be also times when they simply need someone to believe that they're still capable of rising. Living our legacy means becoming aware of the impact we have on the emotional altitude of others. Our words encourage people to rise, or are they unintentionally weighing them down? Are we creating an environment where others feel safe enough to dream? Are we willing to bring people with us rather than treating life as a race to the top? The strongest legacy is not built by climbing alone. It's built by rising with purpose, remaining rooted in our values, and leaving enough lift behind that someone else begins to believe they can rise too. The quote for the day is, "Vision teaches us to look beyond horizon, while purpose reminds us to keep our feet on the path." And true legacy is created when we learn to honor both. I invite you to check out my book called Live Your Legacy, subtitled A New Spin on Mourning. That's Mourning. And I thank you for joining us today. And I hope something you heard here lands or feels right. With that being said, thank you for supporting us. I invite you to listen in on the podcast version that's on Apple and Spotify and Buzzsprout and YouTube podcasts and iHeartRadio and some more. Thank you for your shares, your support. Check out missugraham.com, or if you like the show, check out our website, livelegacy.vip. That's for vision, impact, and purpose. Thank you again, and until next time, this is Patty from New York.
And every turning point holds the power of legacy. Every step, every scar, every choice we make leaves a mark. The time